Identity politics has once again, negatively impacted the decisions at Woke United Methodist. It is amazing how quickly things can change in the span of 24 hours. It is amazing how one bad decision can suddenly impact public perception. Yesterday, as you guys know, I was starting to get worried about the Trumper. I know a lot of you guys were upset with me yesterday. Some of you guys were angry, very bitter, and that's okay. That's okay. I understand. I get it. I lost about 50 subscribers with my criticism of the strategy that's being utilized by the Trump campaign yesterday. Fortunately, though, an additional 300 people subscribed yesterday, so it's all good. I knew I was going to be criticized when I was prepping that video yesterday morning. I knew my stance was not going to be popular with some people in this audience. But like I said yesterday, I was looking at Trump's strategy through the perception of an independent voter. I wasn't worried about his base. They are going to vote for him regardless. I was judging his speech in Atlanta based on how it could be perceived by independent voters. Why? Because that's what I am. I am a registered independent. That's what the vast majority of the country is. Now, they might be registered as Republicans or Democrats, but most people are not far right. Most people damn sure aren't far left. The vast majority of the country is in the middle. The reason I was criticizing the Trumper is because I want him to win, and I felt like the strategy that he has been using lately is pissing off a lot of potential voters that he is going to need to turn out for him to win this election. 24 hours later, though, the negative attention that Orange Man Bad received throughout the weekend, all of that negative attention, it has been forgotten. Cackling Cam Harris, Lil Debbie. I guess cackling Cam Harris was feeling a bit jealous yesterday. I guess Cam was upset with all the attention that the Trumper was receiving. So Cam, she decided to make a decision that not only pisses off normal people, this decision also pretty much guarantees that Cam Harris, she is going to lose in November. If you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Last week, there was a lot of speculation throughout the mainstream media that Lil Debbie was going to select Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro as her vice president. Now, unlike Cam in her current role, Josh Shapiro, he would not be a pretend vice president. He would actually be a viable vice president. Now, I don't know too much about Josh Shapiro, but from the limited research that I've done on him, he seems to be a moderate Democrat. Translation, he seems like an old school Democrat, what the Democrats used to be before they injected themselves with a quadruple dose of the woke fungus. Josh Shapiro, he supports cutting the corporate tax rate in Pennsylvania from 10% to 4%. Unlike Cam, Josh Shapiro, he does not want to defund the police. He wants to refund the police. He proposed hiring an additional 2,000 police officers in Pennsylvania, and he encouraged them to walk their beat so they could get to know the communities that they're serving in. He also opposed mask mandates, and he opposed forcing people to spend a passionate weekend with Aunt Fauci so they could be vaccinated. I'm sure you understand now why Josh Shapiro was being promoted by the mainstream media as a potential vice president. He would balance the ticket. Cam Harris is so far to the left, she's not even leaning anymore. She is tumbling down the mountain. Based on my limited research, Josh Shapiro, he seems to be more of a moderate. This should have been a simple choice for Cam Harris to make. Even with her political IQ in the single digits, this choice still should have been simple. Historically, Pennsylvania is a blue state, but they did elect the Trumper in 2016, and it was extremely close back in 2020. You select Josh Shapiro as your VP, you're pretty much guaranteed to win Pennsylvania. But there was just one problem for Cam, one tiny problem. Josh Shapiro is Jewish, and he supports Israel. No, no, no! This is unacceptable! We can't select him! He could be related to Ben Shapiro! Yeah, or he could be related to Bob Shapiro, who was instrumental in helping O.J. Simpson convince a jury that he wasn't guilty. Cam, she could not select Josh Shapiro because she could not risk pissing off the radical wing of the Democratic Party. I mean, God forbid you piss off the demo that hates the country. There's also reports claiming that Josh Shapiro, he might have actually turned down Cam Harris. Now, I can believe it too. According to some of the media, Josh Shapiro, he might have turned Cam down because he doesn't want to be associated with this inevitable loser of a campaign. He doesn't want to risk his future career in politics on a loser, and who can blame him? Whatever the reason, Josh Shapiro, he is not going to be vice president. So, who did Cam have in the bullpen to replace him? In her infinite wisdom, Cam Harris selected Tim Walz. Well, KC, who in the hell is Tim Walz? Well, Timmy, he is the current governor of the Islamic Republic of Minnesota. Timmy has been governor of the Islamic Republic since 2019. Now, you might be wondering, how come I've never heard of him? What has he accomplished? Well, as it turns out, Timmy is a very accomplished parishioner at Woke United Methodist. He is dedicated to preaching the good word and spreading the woke faith. Listen to some of these accomplishments. You tell me if independent voters are going to vote for Lieutenant Doofus. Remember the riots in the summer of 2020? Well, I shouldn't call them riots. Let me correct myself. Remember the peaceful protest in Minneapolis during the summer of 2020? All those peaceful protesters dancing around the building fires, singing their favorite campfire songs. I love you, you love me, let's go burn down this building, but first we'll loot and steal plenty of shoes, that way our bunions are soothed. Remember watching those peaceful protests and wondering why nothing was being done about it? That achievement belongs to Tim Walz. Timmy's also responsible for changing the design of the Minnesota state flag. Instead of the typical state flag in America that features the state emblem or maybe the state tree, Timmy, he decided to redesign the state flag to resemble the flag of Somalia. I wonder why. I wonder if Omar Elon encouraged him to do that. Under the lack of leadership of Timmy Walz, Minnesota is considered to be an LGBTQIA-friendly state. Well, Casey, what about the plus plus? Don't worry. Uncle KC never forgets to acknowledge the plus plus identifiers. Timmy, he called Minnesota a sanctuary state for the identifiers. Now, what does that mean? Well, let's say you're visiting your local Target, looking for just for men to disguise the gray in your beard. Suddenly, nature calls. You walk to the bathroom and you're immediately confused. What do I do here? I'm currently in the process of questioning which bathroom do I use? You're feeling a bit feminine that day, so you decide to use the women's restroom. Under the leadership of Timmy Walz, that is perfectly fine. No big deal. Yesterday I was feeling like a hippopotamus. I used the bathroom in the zoo. Tim Walz, he supports gender transitioning with minors along with hormone replacement therapy. Now, to his credit, he did serve 14 years in the military. However, some soldiers that served alongside with him, they allegedly claim that Timmy embellished his military service and conveniently left out certain details of his military career. His fellow soldiers, they also accused Timmy of quitting on them. Now, whether or not that's true, I don't know. You can decide for yourself. Last summer, Timmy signed a bill in Minnesota that required public schools to supply feminine products in the boys' bathroom. Why? Well, if Timmy Jr. is in math class and his menstruation cycle suddenly hits, he needs to have access to the proper products. I am confused though. I'm assuming the proper products are already being stocked in the girls' bathroom. If bathrooms aren't gender specific in Minnesota, if everybody is welcome and you're free to use whichever bathroom that you're choosing to identify with, can't the state of Minnesota save some money by just telling them to use the girls' bathroom? Make no mistake about it. This is a disastrous choice by Kamala Harris. It's almost like Democrats are trying to lose. There is no way you can convince me that they are trying to win this election. Listen to some of these potential policies that could be created by Cam Harris and Tim Walz. They both support open borders. They don't support parents homeschooling their children. All children must report to the public indoctrination centers. They both supported defunding the police. Are you the victim of a violent crime? If so, don't call the police. Call social worker Shanice. Shanice diffuses volatile situations with her PhD instead of a GUN. Shanice is highly trained in crisis management. Shanice will direct you to a safe space where your fellow citizen won't be able to hurt you. Don't you mean criminal? No, damn you! There are no more criminals. Crime has been legalized. They want to abolish the Electoral College. There could be a potential 70% tax rate on your earnings. If you make $100,000 a year, you keep 30. Well, Casey, what happens to the other 70? The other 70 is given to people who are unable to work. Well, why are they unable to work? Well, they're suffering through a severe allergen. They're allergic to working. Cam and Timmy, they support free housing and free health care for undocumented migrants. Now, we used to call them illegal, but under the administration of Cam Harris, crossing the border, that will no longer be a crime. Cashless bail for criminals, continued problems with Vlad Putin, using the federal government to go after political opponents, combating mythical racism, ensuring that equity is implemented. Well, Casey, what is equity? Well, we used to call it socialism or redistribution of wealth, but now they're calling it equity. It means you work to not only support you and your own family, you're also supporting your neighbor's family. Do I need to keep going? Do I need to keep going? Does that sound like a country that you want to live in? My stance on Cam Harris has not changed. Selecting Tim Walz as her vice president, it just further solidifies my original opinion. I think Cam Harris was selected to lose this election. You cannot tell me Democrats selected these two candidates thinking that they could win this election. There is absolutely no way people are going to vote for this. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. This is without a doubt the most radical presidential ticket in the history of this country. Do you think they have a chance? I mean, this is great news for the Trumper. After a weekend of bad press, this is exactly what Trump needed. This is why I keep saying that all Trump has to do is remain silent. Let them bury themselves. But give me your thoughts. Sound off in the comments below. Like, subscribe, share the video. Appreciate your support. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.